What's happening, people? I'm here with the main man.
It's the champ.
Make sure you tune into Pep Talk UK, where it talks boxing and
big up.
Thank you, AJ.
Hi, Lawrence Okolie here, professional cruiserweight and former Olympian. Shout out to Pep Talk UK.
Pep Talk UK.
It's time! Everyone talk good game, but it don't really faze me. The man that ain't mad like Max, the way that I'm murky like Ace B. And them guy walk the slide on the back bar, like a baby.
Oi, oi! Welcome to the Pep Talk UK Sports Podcast. The podcast that talks the major boxing and football news from around the globe. Real points of view from a real panel. Hashtag real talk on Pep Talk. Please subscribe to Pep Talk UK on iTunes and YouTube. Don't forget to like, share and comment. Now I'm your host, Frankie B, and I'm joined by a sick panel. Firstly, I'd like to welcome his return from the capital city of France, Paris. Pascal, how you doing, mate?
Frankie B, bonsoir, mes amis, bonsoir. I'm very well, thank you, and yourself?
I'm not great, you know. We just had some bad news. Prodigy, Mobb Deep, is passed at the age of 42.
Oh, mon Dieu, that's very bad news. That's a iconic member of the hip hop family.
Yeah.
I love Mobb Deep, you know, the inspiration, you know, Shook Ones and Quiet Storm, some of my favorite music, you know.
You know, P was definitely a lyricist, you know, back in the day. I grew up off Mobb Deep, mate. Havoc and Prodigy, they were my guys growing up, you know what I mean?
Yes, of course. It's the end of an era, you know. I mean, I grew up on Wu-Tang Clan myself, Mobb Deep, Prodigy, you know, Nas, you know, the whole Queensbridge. Yeah. It's sad. Very, very sad.
Yeah, it's sad, man. For QB and worldwide. R.I.P. Prodigy. Right, now it's time to welcome a man from across the pond who has his own YouTube channel, Truth or Facts Boxing. It's Bo. How you doing, brother?
Oh man, I'm doing good. Glad to be back as always on Pep Talk UK, probably the best podcast in the UK. And I appreciate y'all giving a mad props to Prodigy, man. Like you said, it was sad, man. He comes from that original day of hip hop. So
yeah, and trust me, and he went, you know, he was as real as it got. He weren't one of them little yachi type of rappers, man. He was like a true lyricist, man. Bars upon bars.
Yeah, he was. You could give him a microphone and he could freestyle to any beat. You know, Lil Yachty can't even give you 4 words without it.
It's all this bubblegum rap these days, man.
Yeah, I agree.
So what you been up to?
Nothing, you know, a lot of, you know, doing a lot of shows. I had an interview with Breadman. I'm working on I had an interview with Breadman. I interviewed Robert Garcia.
Nice.
Mike Alvarado. Yeah, Mike Alvarado. So, Red Spikes, Terrence Crawford's, trainer. Got some more interviews coming up, hopefully. And, you know, I'll interview the UK fighter is making his debut, Darren Ray. I got a chance to interview him and, been keeping in touch with Ash and Marcus the Great and all of them. And just, man, you know, to keep my ear to this thing in boxing. I don't know if you guys know EJ Boxing Live. I've been back and forth. Yeah, I've been talking with little. I call him the little Smurf, man. That guy is everywhere. He's like an elf, man. He's everywhere, but I love him. And just loving the sport of boxing, appreciating it. And, you know, it's hard work, but at the end of the day, it pays off because, you know, being here with you guys and being on a panel like this, it just lets me know that my work ain't going unnoticed, and I appreciate it.
That's it, man. We salute you for putting in work, brother. Do you want to shout out your social media?
Yeah, you can find me, of course, Truth and Facts About Boxing on YouTube. Instagram and Twitter is capital T. for truth_fact_box1. You can also find me on the Movement podcast with my partner in crime, N.O.R.E, 2K from the Prodigy of boxing, Big Cool from Classic Boxing, and Twan from Hoop Jab, also Pound for Pound Boxing, and of course, right here on Pep Talk UK, Ring Hands of Fire, and wherever they talking boxing, we live, eat, sleep boxing. Wherever they talking boxing, that's where you can find me, and I just appreciate it all.
My dog. Right. Now, finally, I'd like to welcome a former editor of Ring Magazine Ukraine. It's Petr Sugarev. How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm good. Gay Crasher from Ukraine is here.
Yes.
And he's ready to talk some boxing.
That's it, mate. It's not been a great time for you lately with Kovalev and, Klitschko losing recently. It's not been great for Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe, yeah. I think GGG is gonna get it for all of them.
I think, you know what? I'm tipping Triple G for that fight. I think he's going to beat Canelo. I really do.
Me too. Too big, too strong. Too GGG for Canelo.
Yeah, and he hits like a mule, doesn't he, Triple G?
He's like a heavyweight, according to some cruiserweights he sparred.
Yeah. So what's been going on with you anyway?
Oh, nothing. Just unboxing thing, writing some articles, drawing up predictions. My last prediction on Kovalev didn't work out particularly good. I thought Kovalev was gonna rip Andre Ward in the rematch, and I bottled it. Terrible prediction on my side. It's boxing. It happens.
That's boxing, you know. Well, Kovalev is a great fighter, mate, and hopefully we'll see him back in the ring real soon.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know really about that. GDG, I don't know what the situation with his trainer, the promoter. It's all terra incognita.
Anyway, we're going to keep it moving. You want to shout out your social media?
Yeah, sure. Okay, follow me on Twitter as Gay Crasher UA, and also subscribe on me on Facebook as Petr Gay Crasher Sugarev. Okay.
Nice. Ladies and gents, for the fight fans locked in, for the football fans locked in, now it's time for some real talk on Pep Talk. Let's go! So we start with the boxing, and we're going to talk about the highly anticipated rematch between Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, which saw Andre Ward come out on top. Now, Pascal, it was fairly controversial, to say the least.
Yes, it was. You know, I was very disappointed in the manner that the fight ended, but it certainly was a cracking fight. You know, I was very, very pleased with the fight from the build-up all the way to the fight itself. You know, Kovalev made it very entertaining. You know, he certainly dislikes Andre Ward. The dislike is very, very genuine. You know, and Andre Ward also, you know, as much as him being a Christian, I think it was very, very, it was very obvious that he wanted to turn into the devil, you know. But, you know, I believe that the second fight, Andre Ward showed better mobility. Mm-hmm. He moved superbly around the ring, you know, and his command of the ring was actually very, very good. You know, if you compare him to the first fight, I think the first fight, Andre Ward was carrying an injury, so the mobility wasn't as good. But certainly he made Kovalev miss a lot. If you want my honest estimation, I had Kovalev up until the stoppage. You know, I felt that Kovalev was landing the more telling shots. You know, but Andre Ward adjusted very well to his power. He was not as worried the first time around as he was the second time around. But the low blows, I mean, I'm not too sure whether they were low blows. From where I was watching, they were in the belt. They were on the belt for me, you know, Frankie B. I do not believe that they were malicious, nor were they low. You know, in boxing, and you know, Kovalev likes to wear his pants like in the 80s, we know, very high. So
he likes to wear hip hop style, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I felt that the shorts were a bit high up, you know. if you want my honest opinion, Kovalev was beginning to tire, you know, and he was finding the pace of the fight very difficult. You know, Andre Ward is also very known to come stronger in the second half of the fight, you know, and I believe that that cracking right hand in a round 8, I mean, that was off my seat. It was a beautiful shot, and that shot took a lot out of Kovalev. Kovalev did not go down because
had him wobbling, for sure.
His pride, you know, I think his pride kept him up because he dislikes Andre Ward with all of his life, you know, but at the end, I think that the referee had a very difficult decision to make. At first, I was a bit disappointed in 20 weeks for not giving Kovalev the standing 8 count, you know, because every boxer, particularly in that kind of fight, you know, you're talking light heavyweight, contest with 3 belts on the line and potentially pound for pound title as well. There's a lot going on, and I felt that Kovalev deserved to at least have a standing 8 count. But at the same time, you know, in this weight division, when you start to go light heavy and heavyweight, one more punch could be very damaging. And perhaps looking at the fight now, you know, being able to deliberate and talk about it, maybe 20 weeks did make the right decision by stopping the fight early, because Kovalev didn't complain. Kovalev was quite happy for the fight to end, you know.
It was like he was looking for a way out.
He felt a bit like that, you know. I don't know whether he wants to admit that, but, you know, we've had a lot of controversial stoppage, you know, people stopping in between fights, you know. Brook not too long ago took a knee, and I think that, you know, Kovalev showed me that, you know, Kovalev to me wanted, 20 weeks to end the fight, you know, so it's a good result.
Yeah, Kovalev, he didn't look too angry in a post-fight interview, unlike the first fight.
I agree, and I know Kovalev, but, you know, came to the realization that maybe he's one of those special fighters that he cannot seem to break down. You know, Kovalev is really more power than he is cerebral, prowess when it comes to boxing. He's a very good fighter. He's got very good timing. You know, he's also got very strong hands. But whether, you know, boxing is not all about the power and about the timing, it's about a combination of skills. And perhaps when it comes to, you know, to having that thinking brain in boxing, Kovalev lacks that cutting edge, you know. And Andre Ward was the smarter fighter by going to the body straight away, by chopping down to the body. For me, it looks like, you know, Andre Ward carried on from where he left off in the first fight, and they chopped to the body. The body is also a bigger target to hit, more easier to hit also, and Kovalev tired very quickly, you know, and he showed again.
Bo, over to you, our American panelist. Low blows or not?
You know, I think the thing that everybody have to take into account is that the high guard was on the belly button or just a little bit above the belly button. And the problem with that, when you have it like that, from an American standpoint, we're not going to call that high. I mean, we're not, that's a legal punch, because it's, your guard is high on your belly button. So that's not going to be a legal punch to us. That's on the belt line. But the reality is that Kovalev came in with the hat saying it was going to be a war. Kovalev was telling us how he was going to end Andre Ward, how his right hand, right, I'm going to take his head off. I'm not going to leave it to the judges or anybody. I'm going to take this. And
he was talking reckless.
A lot of things about that is when you talk like that, and this from an American standpoint, when you talk tough like that to us, then you better be ready to back it up. You can't look for help. You can't look to say, hey, wait a minute, rep. No, you can't do that. You promised that the crusher bring us the crusher. And so, even if, you know, I can honestly tell you, I didn't think any of them were low. From the ones that we see on video and all of that, I didn't think they were low. I think they were on the belt line because, of course, it was high right on the navel. But also, at the same time, what Andre Ward did effective was, number one, he had his legs up underneath him. The Andre Ward we saw last night reminded me of the Andre Ward that fought Chad Dawson at 168. He was moving, and by him moving, Kovalev made the mistake of following. Yeah. And a Kovalev that's following punching don't hit as hard as Kovalev that's stationary and punching.
And that's what helped to gas him out.
That helped to gas him out. Also, there were moments in the fight where, not just that, there were moments in the fight where from Andre Ward moving, jabbing up and down from, you know, body to the head body, and moving his head, it made Kovalev hesitant to let his hands go like he wanted to. His jab wasn't as effective in this fight that was in the first fight. Then, on top of that, Andre Ward did one of the really smartest things differently in this fight, other than the second fight, which is he never allowed Kovalev to get into a rhythm. Yes. He never let Kovalev get comfortable. He didn't. He totally committed to making Kovalev uncomfortable, making Kovalev frustrated. And Kovalev for some reason, just for some reason, he was never able to recapture what he was able to do that was successful to him in the first fight. Yeah. And you can, not only can you see him tiring, but you can kind of see his frustration, because Roy Jones said it best. When you start complaining to the ref, you're frustrated. That's the moment you start making complaints to the ref, you are frustrated. But I give him props on this. He still kept fighting, even though he was clearly tired and exhausted. I
saw that from the fifth round that he was gassed.
Yeah, I had more like the third or fourth round him being gassed, but I give him all the credit because the one thing he did do was he kept fighting, regardless of him being tired. He kept fighting, and he kept trying to, even though Ward had his moments, he kept trying to regain the moment back. So all credit for him for that. And as far as the stoppage, I understand some people might not like it, but speaking as someone who has actually fought and been in the ring, and I'm not saying I'm an expert on it, I'm just saying from my experience base, as a fighter, when you are in a position where you are defenseless, and it looks like you are defenseless, because he was slumped over on the ropes in a defenseless position that looks like he wasn't able to continue. So the ref, unfortunately, it's just one of those gut check calls that you have to make in real time. We can second guess it in slow-mo, but in real time, as the ref, you're looking at this and you're like, okay, this guy, he's offering no resistance. He's leaning on the ropes.
He was covering his midsection a lot as well. It was like, well, I can take no more of this.
Right. I have to stop it. I just wish Kovalev, he's never been in that position before. So that's why I don't think it registered to him, because he should have took a knee. He should have just backed up, took a knee, then, tried to gain himself, talk to the ref, because, you hear the clap to let you know it's 30 seconds left. So take a knee, take the 8 count, time's still going.
Spit the gum shot out.
Right. Spit the gum shot, do whatever you do to buy your time. Then go to your corner and let your corner get in the ref's ear. Hey, these are low blows or whatever you might think is bad. That way you got that 60 minutes to recover, and something different could have happened in the next round. But he was never in that position, so he didn't know. And I definitely agree with my man Pascal. Is Ward that night was just the fighter who wanted it more. He wanted, like, Ward was the guy that came prepared for war, and Kovalev just looked like the guy who started out ready to fight, but then once it got kind of heavy, realized I'm just not about that life.
Yeah. Built like that.
Yeah. But I give him all the credit. People who say he's finished, I disagree, because you lost to the best fighter in the world.
Yeah, and he's still a quality fighter.
Yeah, I still got him beating Adonis. I want him to beat Adonis Stevens. I still got him beating Adonis Stevens. I you know what I'm saying? I still think he like Artur Abitabi and a lot of these other guys he can beat. So he's not done. But I don't think he should. I don't think he should be running right back to Andre Ward. Take a couple of fights, get your mind right, get your camp right. I'm very upset whether I don't care about if I like a guy, I don't like a guy. Every man deserves his right to get paid for his work. I don't like the fact that his pay was dependent on the pay-per-view. I don't like that at all, period. Get your camp right. I don't like the rumors about your trainer, John David Jackson. You don't need that going into camp. So get your camp right, get your coaching right, get your mind right, and come back.
Yeah. Do you think Andre Ward was listening to a lot of MC Light in the build-up? I rocks the party that rocks the body.
You know what? A long time ago, there was a video when Andre Ward made. I can't remember. There was a video he made. He said, "What do you do when you have a guy hurt and he can punch harder than you? You go to the body. He just start beating up on you bad." Andre Ward is an inside fighter. Like, he's an inside fighter, and for people who don't know, some people might, they say it looks dirty, but the thing is, think Marcos Maidana, think Mike Tyson, think Joe Frazier. They're inside fighters. It's just a grimy, gritty, you know, uncomfortable type of way of fighting. But that's how inside fighting is. It's not pretty. It's ugly.
So for you, is he P for P king now? Number one?
He was always number one. He was always number one on my pound for pound list. I think you have to put him number one on that list because of this was a totally different performance than the first fight. And, I mean, listen, he fought, this is the third or fourth pound for pound guy he's fought. So you got to put him up there at number one. If he goes to cruiserweight, stay away from Alexander Usyk. You will not win that fight, Andre.
All right, Peter, over to you. In your opinion, was Kovalev in control until the possible low blows?
I think he was in control early on. In the first 3 rounds, he was doing just fine. He was boxing beautifully. He was throwing his jab. He was controlling the fight. First three rounds, just okay. Then Ward started to do his Ward things.
His Ward things, yeah? What's that?
Yeah, he started to slowly out-hustle Kovalev. Also, I think many people underestimate Ward's his strength. He's a very powerful fighter. He's not just a pretty face. He's not just a technician can box. He's a strong fighter.
He's only had like 16 knockouts. Yeah. A lot of people look at that record, 16 knockouts, and think, hold on a minute, he can't really bang like that.
Yeah, he manhandled Kovalev on the inside. I think coming back to why Kovalev gassed so early on. When the first fight, he was doing just fine all 12 rounds. I think Kovalev made a mistake. He fought on the inside so much.
So do you feel that Andre Ward is the P4P number one in your eyes?
I think he is. You really cannot make no case for anyone else right now. I think Canelo GGG may, if we have a stoppage in that fight, if someone can win by KO, GG or Canelo, I think that guy may have a case for. Yeah. Also, don't forget about Roman Gonzalez. That guy also has a rematch coming up.
Yeah, he took an L.
L was a bullshit. He won that fight, but he didn't get the decision. Yeah. Maybe that rematch, if he can beat Thai guy by KO, maybe he has a case for being P4P once again.
So where does Kovalev, where does he go from here?
I think he has to take some time off to get his cap in check.
Repair his stomach.
John David Jackson, that whole bullshit before the fight, it just has to go.
Well, you know, he was saying that the checks were low, that, you know, he wanted to look for better opportunities.
That's also bullshit. Main event, I think he has one more fight under their banner. I think he has to change the promoter. Definitely. Maybe he should go to Top Rank. I don't know. Maybe he should go to World of Boxing. That Russian promotion, Rabitsky promotional company.
You think it's going to take a while for his abs to heal up?
I think he'll take a couple of months to reevaluate what happened. He'll make a decision. He's a grown man.
Well, hopefully he'll be back in the ring. I still think he's a great fighter, but he just lost to someone who's super special.
That division is elite. That division is elite. They've got Beterbiev, they've got Usyk, Gvozdy. They've got Barrera, who fights Smith. It's a good division.
It sure is.
Don't forget about Stevenson.
Superman, your favorite fighter.
No.
We move on to another fight on the same card. It was Rigondeaux versus Flores, where Rigondeaux retained his title by knockout. Guess what? After the bell. Now, Pascal, it's been ruled a no contest now by the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Oh.
Is that rightly so?
Well, no, Frankie B, in in terms of in real fight time, it's very difficult for the boxers to stop on the bell, because they're not this is not Xbox where you can just press pause, when you start when you fight. This is boxing. And I felt that the referee should also have an understanding of where the round is about to finish, and perhaps you should have stepped in a bit sooner, particularly when Rigondeaux was holding the head of Chucky. But
should have been a bit stronger, like in Badu Jack versus the Girl.
He should have been.
Took one.
Yes, of course. Sometimes you have to ride or die, when it comes to your job. But I felt that Rigondeaux was a bit unlucky, because his movement is something I've never seen before. Him and Lomachenko are super movers in the ring. And I wanted Rigondeaux to continue to win, because he's not really well known. A lot of boxing purists love his style, they love the way he boxes. And I felt that, in hindsight, the decision of a non-contest is perhaps the right decision to make. We're just very lucky that, Chucky's corner didn't start to punch Rigondeaux in the face like the red family did, So they showed a bit more respect. But look, if the Nevada Commission ruled it a no contest, I believe that it's the right decision. And but I don't believe there's a need for a rematch. I believe that Rigondeaux should remain the champion, and he should move on to better opponents, because he certainly was going to win a fight, in my opinion, anyway, regardless of the outcome of the first round.
What about Flores going down like Drogba? Well, he went down like he was shot, mate.
Flores was trying to cheat his way into becoming champion, and it certainly is a disgusting attitude. I believe that Flores knew very quickly, within the first minute of being in a round with Rigondeaux, that he was in the ring with a superior boxer with superior skills. The composure of Rigondeaux was second to none, and Flores was just looking for another way out himself. He felt that, look, I'm not going to beat this guy. He's too good. He's too good for me. I can't touch him very well.
Yeah. That was a real Chucky move. That was.
It was a very, very big Chucky move. And the manner upon which he went down is just almost like a delayed reaction. I mean, boxing very well, Frankie B, and you know that if you're going to be knocked out, you're going to be knocked out. Let's talk to the likes of American or other people who say that, look, when you get knocked out, it's a straight shot to the head and you go down. What Flores did was a delayed reaction. He was trying to sway the decision of the referee and of the judges for him to steal the championship, and that's completely unacceptable.
Bo, did you see Flores go down? Delayed reaction.
When you're knocked out, you're knocked out. Like you said, when you're knocked out, you're knocked out. You know what I'm saying? They come in with the smelling salt and all of that. He knew from the moment that bell rang that he was just out of his depth. Like, Rigo's feet were faster than his hands, and he knew that. He was, and I don't understand what that yell was. I'm like, why are you yelling? You're hitting them. You're wasting energy. Chill. But I definitely do think it was the right decision to change it to a no contest. The only thing that bothered me was, again, the referee was out of position. Mm-hmm. When the knock on the thing hit for 30 seconds, you're supposed to be standing close to these guys. So they will at least be aware that the round might be ending because the ref is right here. He came running from the other side of the ring, and the reason why Rigo hit him late, the ref didn't come running until after the bell rang. To the other side of the ring. You're supposed to be right there to jump in between them for when that bell rang. They both were throwing a punch at the same time because Rigo's landed before Chucky's. But I was upset at the. Did you guys see that little Three Stooges thing that was going on at ringside with them trying to decide on what to do? Like, you had the ref who didn't know what to do. He didn't want to make a call. He goes outside and talk to the ref, and then you hear somebody say, "Hey, step over here so nobody can hear you," because apparently we're about to say some dumb stuff. Then we got to make a call upstairs, and everybody comes down, and they gather around the monitor, they huddle up. I'm like, this is the Three Stooges I'm watching right here. So they gather around the monitor, they huddle up, they make a decision, only to tell us that they didn't realize that the decision they made was wrong, because
it was so blatant as well. It was so blatant after the bell.
Apparently, they was watching it without sound to determine if the blow came. And I'm like, you were watching to see if he hit him after the bell and you didn't listen with the sound on? Wow, really?
But do you think that was a bit of, Chucky voodoo, mate, in the arena at the time?
You know what? I think it's Rigo voodoo, because these things always seem to happen to him when he's on national TV. When he went over to Japan and fought the tall guy, what's his name? Yamagaja. That was a barn burner. He knocked Rigo down twice and Rigo wound up finishing him. And then he fought another guy. But for some reason, there's this dark cloud over him when he's on national TV to put it on that something happens that's just not right. But I definitely agree that when he felt Rigo's power and that move, I don't think he realized then I'm way out of my depth here.
Petar, so if a rematch is called and Rigondeaux wins the rematch, where do you see Rigondeaux going from there? Because, to be honest, he hasn't had the big fights that his talent sort of deserves.
Yeah, I think he has to move up to the ring. That's where big fights, he wants big fights, and he's already 36 years old. He's losing time. He fought, one time in 2016. He fought one time in 2017. He doesn't have that much time. He has to move up. He has to fight real fighters. He was talking a lot about fighting Lomachenko. Mm-hmm. I don't think that fight is gonna happen at 126. I don't think Loma will ever move down for that fight. Not because he's afraid to fight Rigondeaux.
It just doesn't generate the money, does it?
Doesn't make sense, yeah. No, absolutely not. It's sad to see Rigondeaux to lose all this time, all his talent, just doing nothing, absolutely nothing.
Right, cracking. Now it's interview time. Boxing superstars Canelo Alvarez and Triple G were in London this week for a presser ahead of their titanic clash on September the 16th at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Pep Talk UK were honoured to be invited to the presser. Let's hear an exclusive from Tom Loeffler on what he thinks of Canelo versus Triple G, September the 16th.
Pep Talk UK, I joined by Mr. Boxing, Tom Loeffler. How are you doing, sir? You okay?
Well, it's great to be back in the UK. We've had some great events here with Triple G versus Kell Brook, with Joshua versus Klitschko. So we're always excited to come back to the UK.
Big one, Triple G, Canelo, Triple G. However you want to look at it. Yeah. How are you calling this big mega fight?
It's one of those can't miss fights. You have two fighters with huge fan bases, tremendous styles, but the event itself is bigger than the individuals, and that's where I think this is really translated into a huge international sporting event.
As a fight fan, how do you think it's going to go down?
A lot of fireworks. With Gennady's punching power, his knockout ratio, Canelo's come forward style. I think this is a can't miss. I think this is a can't miss fight. And I think it'll be a lot of excitement for the fans. It's really a throwback fight in the middleweight division. One of the classic divisions with so many tremendous matchups. I think this will etch itself into the history of middleweight division as well as one of the best matchups in the history of the division.
I'm hoping it's the first of, say, a trilogy.
I could easily see that. I could easily see 2 or 3 fights with this event. Again, with the fan bases, with the excitement, I really think this could easily be done 2 or 3 times.
It's got all the hallmarks of a modern day classic. It's probably the fight of the year. 2 great fighters, style-make fighters. These 2 are not going to take a back step in that ring, are they?
I don't see it. I really don't. I mean, Gennady might sidestep, but not take a back step, and I think the same thing with Canelo. Canelo's hand speed, his ring IQ. I think they're going to be in the middle of the ring just going at it, and I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really a treat for the fans.
Well, we at Pep Talk UK are going to be watching the fight. We're going to be cheering it on. You've got everyone in the UK well excited for this fight. Thank you, sir, and we'll hopefully catch up with you you soon.
Great, that sounds good. Look forward to that.
Cheers.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Tom Loeffler. Looking forward to Canelo versus Triple G. Truly a great fight for all the boxing fans worldwide. Right, now let's hear from an exciting cruiserweight and former Olympian out the cage. It's Lawrence Okolie, who fights July the 1st at the O2.
Pep Talk UK are joined by a man I've got a lot of time for. He's a Hackney boy. He's out the cage. He's a man mountain because I'm staring up at him, and his name is Mr. Lawrence Okolie. How you doing, Lawrence?
I'm good, thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Lawrence, at the Olympics, I was screaming at the TV. Could you hear us?
I think so. I could feel everyone, to be fair.
You went to the Olympics. How was it in terms of your achievements to date? How did going to Rio, the experience, you fighting in front of them crowds, what did it do for you?
No, it was a fantastic experience, once in a lifetime, obviously. But if I'm going to be 100% honest with you, the fights felt like any other fight that I had. So I'd warm up the same. I'd go and box against, another person, and all the rules were the same. But it just comes with a lot more pressure. So I know millions of people are going to be watching the fight, thousands of people in the arena. So it's just a case of it showed me I can keep my cool under heavy pressure. But the fights are all the same.
You've turned pro, you've signed with Eddie Hearn. There was a lot of noise around your debut. How was it to turn over as a pro?
It was exciting, obviously, because now there's another pressure. So the pressure before as an amateur was boxing, winning medals, qualifying for stuff. Now the pressure is winning, looking spectacular. You're under a lot more of a spotlight. So in terms of your performances, they get scrutinised where your hand position is, how your defence is, how your offence is. So it's interesting in that sense. But in terms of the fighting, once again, it's literally the same. You warm up, you punch the pads, you skip, you do your stretches, you go out, there's a referee and an opponent, and then once you start fighting, it's just you and an opponent. So it's all been the same.
You've been a little bit unfortunate with the way your fights have gone so far. Not that you let them hang about for long, you're in there, you go and blast them out the ring, but in terms of your fight in Manchester, you didn't get on till after the main event. You were gloved up, you were wrapped up, you were ready to go Wembley. It didn't quite happen for you. As a boxer, how frustrating is that, knowing what you can do in the ring?
The Manchester one, that one wasn't so bad because I got to box straight after the main event. It wasn't obviously as the best, but it was my first fight, so maybe it was a blessing in disguise to go a little bit under the radar. However, the Wembley one was a bitter pill to swallow. It was really difficult for me because when I was told I wouldn't be able to fight, it was probably worse than getting knocked out. I just felt so low, and it didn't really hit me until I actually walked out. I was meant to be the fighter for Joshua. Then I walked out of the change room and saw what the 90,000 looked like with the lights, and then that's when I couldn't hold it in anymore. It was overwhelming, and it was probably one of the lowest points of my boxing career. Even though it wasn't like I lost, it was just I lost out on a big opportunity. So that was difficult, but fortunately I managed to get on in Sheffield, which was another stadium fight, so it kind of made up for it a little bit. But I'm always going to be chasing that sort of big event.
Talking of big events, you're next fighting on the 1st of July, coming up soon. How's training been? Are you ready to rock and roll? And you're at the O2?
Yeah, training's gone good as always. I mean, since the amateur, the program's been staying in the gym, do you know what I'm saying? So after I have a fight on the Saturday, my coaches need me back in the gym on Monday, latest Tuesday, and that's basically what it's been. So I've basically been in a constant camp, so I'm always in good shape. But I'm probably going to push it a little bit further this camp, just because I'm so used to stopping people in a round so far as a pro that it's been a while since I've had a real fight. So I'm mentally preparing myself for a proper fight at the O2, and a different kind of pressure.
Now, when you say it's been a while since you had a proper fight, say I gloved up, me and you went a few rounds, would you go easy on me, or do you just not give a shit? Would you just blast me out of the ring?
It depends. If it's sparring, it's one thing, you know what I mean, I'll carry you through a couple rounds, maybe test your body a little bit. But in a professional ring, as quickly as I can get over, I'll get over. And if I ever say, I went in there and I was trying to get the rounds in, I'm lying. Remember, I said that now. So my aim is to get the job done as quickly as possible every single time, because this is not a safe sport. It's a sport where at any point I can get knocked out and I can knock someone out. So I prefer to be the one getting the KO done as quickly as possible.
This Pennybois is making a lot of noise. He's active on social media. I recommend everyone give him a follow. We at Pep Talk are going to be following you all the way to hopefully the top. We wish you the best. We'll be there fight night. We'll be watching you, cheering you on, shouting you out. Good luck, Lawrence.
Thank you. So good to be here. Shout out to Pep Talk.
Nice. Shout out Lawrence Okolie and the Pennybois. Hackney in the building. Thank you, Shaz. Nice. Now it's football time. So we're going to talk about transfer rumours, and the biggest rumours of all so far is the first one. Ronaldo apparently wants to leave Real Madrid because of unfair treatment by the Spanish tax authorities. Now, Pascal, let's talk of a sensational return back to Old Trafford.
We have heard about that. He tells us that Ronaldo believes that he's being demonized by the Spanish authorities concerning tax. If I'm not mistaken, 13 million euros or 30 million pounds is said to be missing from the Spanish treasury. And look, Ronaldo earns a lot of money, but I believe that he's got people, he's got accountants who are supposed to, make sure that these type of headlines don't make the papers. So he's either a bit concerned about the lack of attention to detail in his affairs.
But is that Real Madrid's fault, though? To be honest, that's a personal thing.
In Great Britain, I think the taxation is 20%. And one thing that's very interesting is you never hear those scandals in the British press, which means for me that he had the better time at Manchester United in terms of his financial affairs were handled in a much better way, and we all know that Britain is a world-leading financial center. So from his point of view, it is better for him to play his trade in a country where his financial affairs are better looked after. We remember that in the same vein of communication, we also can talk about Lionel Messi, who had similar troubles. We can also talk about Alexis Sanchez, who also had similar troubles with taxation in Spain. And I think that's,
and now it's Mourinho as well.
It seems to be that the Spanish authorities are spending too much time drinking sangria and not really paying attention to what's going on. Because it is certainly very consistent, in a lot of high-profile players and high-profile managers in Spain. I think for me, it's very interesting, forgive me, because there's an opportunity to learn more and more talent from La Liga to Great Britain and to the league, where the club can say, to the players, look, we will handle your finances a lot better than in Spain, and you certainly will not be featuring in a front page of the Spanish papers. And if somebody could relay this to Mbappe, it would be very interesting, so that at least he can consider a move to London, preferably North London, preferably the Emirates Stadium.
I don't think it's solely the tax reasons for Ronaldo wanting to leave. I think the fact that he's been booed by his own fans as well at the Bernabeu is probably part of the reason also.
Well, Frankie B, I think that Ronaldo deserves the respect, from not just his fans, but from anybody that's an athlete, anybody that understands what success requires. Ronaldo, to me, embodies hard work and dedication, and he's the kind of guy that could sit, the table with Floyd Mayweather, with Mike Tyson, with all the great sportsmen and all the great sports and all the great leaders in the world. This is truly where talent and hard work create something exceptional. So, talent alone isn't enough. I believe that Lionel Messi is talented, naturally gifted, but Ronaldo is working very, very hard to become the player that he's become. And it is very hurtful to have your fans, to boo you and to not respect your talent, your hard work.
Especially when a guy he scores an average 50 goals a season and he gets
Of course. I mean, who at Real Madrid will be able to replace the tally of goals that he's scoring? The man himself is a phenomenon. he's a freak of nature, and he certainly would not be cloned again at Real Madrid. And if he does leave, Real Madrid will have a very difficult time in filling his boots and finding a player that can even provide 1/10 of what Ronaldo has been providing to that team. In England, we all know that Ronaldo will be revered by not just Manchester United, but the league will welcome him with open arms. And he's an exciting player. He has a soft touch for Manchester, of course, and for Great Britain. And for the league, it'll be very good to have Ronaldo return at Manchester. Whether can he make the impact he has made in Real Madrid? I mean, if you remember, Mourinho didn't really bring the best out of Ronaldo. Mourinho wasn't able to win a Champions League with Ronaldo. So I don't know. I think he's a very difficult one, but I certainly would like to see him again playing in a top league in Europe. And for me, there's only one league that can do that, and that's the EPL, the English Premier League.
I totally agree with Pascal. Everything he said. I would love to see Cristiano Ronaldo back in the Premier League as well. But
can he still do it at 32? Can he still do it?
Well, he's not going anywhere. He'll still be in Real Madrid come the end of the summer. So, I think we should just forget about these smoke screens and everything. We're talking about a player who's won World Player of the Year the same amount of times as Lionel Messi, because he's going to win the next one. Do you really think he's going to leave Real Madrid to go to Manchester United when he doesn't like Jose Mourinho? He doesn't go anywhere. Ronaldo stays there. But the issue is, in Spain, the tax rate is a flat rate in Spain, so it's easy enough to work out how much he gets paid by Real Madrid. He pays the tax man, that's not an issue. In England, it's the exact same. But the difference between England and Spain is when it comes to image rights, your personal rights, your endorsements. In Spain, you get more of a tax break. And that's the reason why it's always a bit difficult in Spain. Because if you are, if you've got a good Nigerian banker, he can help you out, saving you some money by actually not declaring some of the money you get paid by some of your sponsors and actually moving things here and there. Now, the tax authorities have been quite ruthless. Remember Mascherano crying last summer, saying he was going to leave Barcelona as well after he got convicted, but he only got a suspended sentence. Lionel Messi and his dad, similar circumstances. But Cristiano Ronaldo is basically blowing all this smoke to try to see if, because Real Madrid as a football club are actually quite close to, they are the King's Club. And they have, Florentino Perez has a lot of close friends that are in the Spanish government. He's trying to see if there's a way in which he can kind of somehow get this reduced sentence. And he wants this to be the rhetoric. I've been badly treated and I want to leave, as opposed to I've done something terrible and this is negativity. So his PR team are actually spinning it quite well. But come the end of the summer, I believe 100% we will still see Cristiano Ronaldo there chasing Messi, because you can't score 40 league goals in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. And if he goes to China, then that's the end. Messi will win the next Ballon d'Or, the one after that and the one after that, and he's just caught up with Messi. One back-to-back Champions Leagues, he goes nowhere.
And Ronaldo really wouldn't like that, would he?
Exactly. Definitely not.
Let's talk about Man City now. Apparently, they're chasing Kyle Walker. I know you talked about that last time, MJ. There's strong rumours that Kyle Walker could be going to City.
Yeah, the Kyle Walker to City, it's actually seeming as if it's almost a done deal.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Because Zabaleta's gone, Sagner's gone.
Absolutely. It looks as if, at Arsenal, it seems that Arsenal are going to have a hell of trouble actually trying to hang on to Bayer in the summer, because Barcelona are coming offering sweets, goodies and everything to try to say, we'll give you Rafinha. Initially, Guardiola was probably thinking maybe Arsene Wenger will be reasonable and do a deal. But I think now Barcelona has come in. He's seen a better in. He's committed to Arsenal and will only leave Arsenal for Barcelona. So he's completely forgotten about that. And he's looked for the next best thing. He's moved in on Kyle Walker. And from all indications in North London, it's looking like Tottenham are willing to do a deal, because they've got Kieran Trippier and they've actually been looking at one or two other players in terms of replacing Kyle Walker. Pochettino doesn't want to keep on to someone who effectively earns a lot and is basically unhappy. So that's looking increasingly like a pretty easy one in, one out scenario there.
In some funny ways, it's kind of like you're merging the abilities of Zabaleta and Sanya all in one in Kyle Walker.
Oh yeah, and also a bit of Bellerin as well without speed. He's not quite as fast as Bellerin, but bloody hell, he's a bloody quick player. I'll tell you that. There are not too many wingers in the Premier League who are going to outrun him and make him look silly, Kyle Walker. So, yeah, great signing there for City, who just continually
As an Arsenal fan, I would love it if he moves to City, mate. I would love it, mate.
Yeah. Actually, Pascal, what do you make of the Arsenal transfer activity so far?
Well, you know, at this particular moment, it's still very...
What activity?
It's not very exciting. It's not very exciting. You know, Lacazette, you know, again, the Lyon president basically has said that Lacazette is not going anywhere. And then there was an announcement that Arsenal are not, you know, bidding insufficient enough money for Lacazette. So,
what about Arsenal bidding for Cuadrado? 17 million.
Is history repeating itself again, you know? I mean, in terms of Lacazette coming to Arsenal, I can see that deal potentially happening because Lacazette and the team that he plays, Lyon at the moment, are also in the UEFA Cup, so there's no real incentive for him to stay at Lyon in France. He always wanted to play in the Premier League, so there's an opportunity for him to come and play in the Premier League and to test himself against the best players. So I can certainly see the rationale behind that. The concern is that will Arsenal once and for all pay the asking price, provide, you know, the club of Lyon with the money that they too need to buy another player so that they can also concentrate on their affairs for next season. And I'm not sure whether Wenger is trying to look at it as an opportunity to stall the deal as long as possible because Lyon are a potential opponent in the UEFA Cup. You know, do you destabilize the team by taking away the star striker and preventing them from replacing the striker? I mean, you know...
But there's talk of Lyon getting the Ajax striker, the Chelsea boy.
Chelsea, Bertrand Traore.
That's right. And then Lacazette goes to Arsenal.
Yes, Bertrand Traore is being linked, you know, and I mean, look, for me, it's very simple. You know, Wenger's been given a 2-year contract, and we want him to be more decisive about the future of the players and the future of the club. And he should just basically provide the money that is needed to secure a striker. Is Lacazette the player that's going to change Arsenal season? I'm not too sure.
Pascal, similar to you, there's rumours West Ham actually bidding for Giroud.
They are?
So West Ham, apparently they did put a bid for Giroud in yesterday.
MJ, I'll book him a cab, mate. I'll book him a cab.
Book him a cab, that's it.
I mean, you know...
It's just whether Arsenal would have said that. Apparently it's about 20 million they put in, which is an running bid for Giroud.
It's a very good bid, you know, because Arsenal bought him for 15 million, but also Giroud likes life in London. His wife is very settled here, and they're not ready to go back to France. So, but does a player like Giroud want to play at West Ham? I mean, look, perhaps he may well go there just to remain in London for a couple more years. But Marseille have also made a bid who are interested in Giroud and in his services.
And Marseille have money now, don't they?
But unfortunately, the money is not the same, of course. So I personally would be sad to see Giroud going to West Ham because I don't think that Giroud is as bad as we think he is, you know. He has moments of brilliance and he can change the game sometimes, you know. He's just his pace lets him down and he's not a stellar player that is associated with a team like Arsenal, but he's still nonetheless a very good squad player, you know. But his age is a big factor. And certainly he needs to be considered as a surplus to requirement. But it will be very difficult for Arsenal to play West Ham with a team like Giroud and Andy Carroll. You know, it can be, for us, it will be very difficult.
That's a Stoke move. Tall strikers up front, crosses left, right, and centre.
Yes,
that's definitely a Stoke-like, you know, transfer, mate.
Actually, Sam Allardyce back in the day. Allardyce is retired. What's going on?
Allardyce.
Yeah, exactly.
MJ, moving on to you. There's talk of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's been linked to Liverpool and Chelsea because Arsenal haven't offered him a new contract, mate.
Yeah, I mean, on this Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain situation, the boy is actually a Liverpool fan by birth, but obviously that doesn't mean anything. Eventually, he will pick a destination where he feels he might win the most trophies, whether he believes that's at Liverpool, because apparently City, Chelsea are all in for him. He's got 12 months left on his deal, and it seems as if he is stalling on a deal with Arsenal. He's not happy with whatever terms. The biggest part of it is the fact that Arsenal, having discovered this 3-5-2 formation, is brilliant for all Arsenal fans. But if you ask anyone who's ever played that wing back, or that wing back is literally donkey work. You're right,
yeah.
And you're
right. Yep.
It's the reason why Raheem Sterling said, you know what? One of the reasons why he said, "Sod you, Liverpool, I'm heading off." Because he was a young player, doing very well, playing on the wing, 4-3-3. We started playing with wing backs, and he was just running up and down. He couldn't affect the game. He was just running up and down, doing nothing. So, I mean, there's a lot of considerations here for Oxlade-Chamberlain. But right now, Liverpool are actually about to complete the deal of Salah, Mohamed Salah, ex-Chelsea reject, who's gone over to Roma and scored, 17 goals and 16 assists or something like that ridiculous last season.
But I like that because that's more pace. You know, Mane one side, Salah the other side. That's tremendous pace.
And it's not just that, it's kind of like if Mane is actually injured, we've actually got another athlete to actually move forward. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big move. It's a big move by the Auckland club. Considering the fact that we've had egg on our face with this Virgil van Dijk situation.
You need him 100%.
Yeah, which has been a great source of embarrassment to the club. Actually getting Salah over the line will actually be a big deal. Because Chelsea, I mean, never mind Liverpool, Chelsea have had so many issues. There was talk of Conte about to actually walk out of Chelsea because he's completely and utterly frustrated. Conte gave him a list at the start of last summer. He gave him a list which included Noreaga, Morata, and people like that. They didn't hit one of his targets.
Koulibaly.
Yeah, he's actually won the title for Chelsea, and the only player they've been able to sign is Man City's former reserve goalkeeper last season, Willy Caballero, which they're not going to announce until when they have a more stellar signing. So they've given Conte a new £10 million a year deal to kind of make him feel a bit better. They kind of look as if they're losing out on Morata because Conte wants Morata, the club want Lukaku. It seems as if he's going to actually do some give and take and actually sign Lukaku with the club. But Conte's not been happy, and I think we've seen this before. He got so upset with Juventus, even after winning the title. He told them, sign me a player. They said no, and he just walked out of them pre-season. So Conte is that kind of crazy, passionate man. You don't want to mess around with him. But it seems at least for this season, he's going to remain at Chelsea. But next season, only God knows.
But Pascal, as MJ mentioned, Chelsea apparently are finalising deals for Monaco's Bakayoko Lukaku, mate, from Everton. Do you think that will strengthen their squad?
It certainly will. You know, Bakayoko has been very instrumental and certainly has helped Monaco clinch the Ligue 1 title. You know, it's certainly a bit of a shame that, the Monaco squad is being depleted even before they attempt another campaign at the Champions League next season. But Monaco has always been that kind of club. You know, they develop a lot of good players and sell them on to other clubs, which is a really good testament to their academy. In terms of
it just seemed like sorry Pascal. It just seemed like Monaco were like coming back to the glory days. You remember when they had N.O.R.E, Trezeguet, Ekpeva. Do you remember that?
Emmanuel Petit.
Julie.
Yeah, Emmanuel Petit. All those very good players. You know, they're very good at producing players and unearthing talent. You know, he's certainly been one of the. You know, he's been synonymous with Monaco. I would even go
to the beach.
Yeah, I think he must be the beach, but you could almost call them the Spurs of French football because they've always been very good at competing with the best team, not always with the best budgets, but because they offer good tax breaks, they've got a bit of an advantage over other French clubs, you know, and they can attract good players that way. The support has not always been the best because half of the supporters are multi-millionaires, but, you know, I certainly have always been a very, admirer of the team and the way they play football. I mean, in terms of, to answer your question for Lukaku, will Lukaku strengthen, Chelsea? I mean, if I were Lukaku, I wouldn't go back, you know, because they recruited him to become at one point to replace Didier Drogba, you know, his childhood, idol, and he's never quite got the opportunity to play. Albeit it was Mourinho who purchased him, so perhaps under Conte he may become a better player. But Everton, he's given a bit more of a laissez-faire approach. He's less, he's under less pressure, and for me, Lukaku, if you put a lot of pressure on him, it seems to underperform. If you recall his performance in the World Cup with Belgium, he wasn't the player that we expected him to be, because there was big expectations on the Belgium team to perform at the highest level, and they didn't quite do that. So, will Lukaku perform to the best of his ability at Chelsea, where the pressure is greater? I'm not too sure. Will also play every single game.
I remember when Lukaku came to English football, I swear, for me, he looked like he was Heskey, reborn, mate.
I think his nickname was Baby Drogba. That's what we all expected.
He struggled, he struggled, and at Everton he found himself. He was a bit reborn, and he performed really, really well. And whether he can carry this over to Chelsea, it's something that we'll have to see. But if Conte insists that this is a player that he wants to develop, under Conte and under his management and leadership, there's no doubt that Lukaku can perform and remain a good player that we know him to be.
MJ, Liverpool. Obviously, you're a Liverpool fan. Who would you like to see? Like 3 players at least that you'd like to see at Liverpool.
Actually, guys, saying these are actually 3 likely signings. The 3 players we're linked with. I think Mohamed Salah. That's the one we're going to get over the line. It's seeming that way. Today, Liverpool have actually received a kick in the teeth because UEFA announced a few hours ago, kind of the last 3-4 hours, they are going to allow RB Salzburg, that's the Austrian Red Bull team, as well as RB Leipzig, that's the German Red Bull team, to both compete in the Champions League. Now, there's the Guinean player, who's supposed to be Liverpool's main target, Keita. That's the guy who had more interceptions than Kante. Imagine him like Kante, but he gets you goals. So
Kante's twin, yeah?
Exactly.
Kante's better half.
Kante's twin that scores goals. Just put it that way.
Wow.
Keita. He was the driving force behind why they actually finished second in the Bundesliga. And this is Klopp's #1 target this summer. That's who we've been chasing all summer. But the fact they're going to play in the Champions League, it's seeming less likely that deal's going to happen. But as a Liverpool fan, I would love that deal to absolutely happen, because you play him in the middle of the park. I don't care who you get rid of. That's definitely going to improve our team in terms of interceptions, and he can go forward and do things. So that would be #2. #3 would be I can't call him prodigal son because we never had him, but Virgil van Dijk.
Yes.
The man who's have been keen on Liverpool before the embarrassment happened. We don't even need to go into it.
What is it with you guys in Southampton, man? It's like there's some dodgy deal, under wraps, mate, between the 2 clubs.
Yeah, I think Southampton are they're like Liverpool reserves. So every time they do well, we try to promote players to the first team. But, this scenario, this is exactly the same thing Southampton did when we were trying to sign Adam Lallana from them. They basically reported us, and we actually had to pay a bit more. And that season we signed Lallana and Kleiny, and we had to pay a bit more for Lallana to sweeten the deal. And this time around, they reported us, and they went, you know what, everyone else can put 60 million. But for Liverpool, the new price for you guys is 72 million quid.
Ooh, for Van Dijk.
Yeah,
come on.
60 million is too much. But I think the thinking in Liverpool top brass, Jurgen Klopp, I think he must have a pretty good dealer, because somehow he thinks he's going to sell Saka for £30 million when he's completely made Saka an outcast. He thinks he's going to sell him for £30 million and thought to himself, if I sell Saka for 30, we put in another 20 million, 25 million, we can maybe get Van Dijk for 55 million. Unfortunately, Sam Allardyce has left Palace, and I don't think there are going to be too many clubs silly enough to be willing to pay 30 million for Saka, just because they know we're desperate and we're trying to get rid of him. Has nothing to do with Saka's quality. I think Saka is good enough to play for Liverpool. Has nothing to do with his quality. But similar to the Antonio Conte and Diego Costa scenario, in which the Chelsea board was so upset with Conte for sending that text message to Diego Costa saying, I don't want to see you in Chelsea next season, because automatically that brought down the asking price. You can't go around bargaining going like, oh, you know what, this is the price, and if you don't want to pay this price, we're just going to keep him for another season. No, when you've made it obvious, I'm trying to get rid of this player, you're going to get teams lowballing you with offers. So, but yeah, but boys, as Arsenal supporters, what are the 3 top signings you would actually want to see in Arsenal this summer? After all the upheaval and revolution and everything that we saw last year with our friends at Arsenal Fan TV and everything like that, I mean, Lacazette's got to be up there in the list, but who are the other 3 players?
Pascal?
Well, certainly I would certainly like to keep Alexis Sanchez. For me, that would be the number 1 signing for Arsenal. We know we need to keep him, but
internal signing.
But assuming that he goes, I certainly do not want Chamberlain to go to any of the competitors in England, or I just find that that conversation ludicrous. I think that there's no reason why Oxlade-Chamberlain should leave the Emirates Stadium. I think he should be nurtured as a potential new captain of the team. He's that kind of player, and it will be very sad to see him leave if he does go. But there's certainly a lot of internal administration that needs to be carried out. But if we were to consider external players, I believe that the likes of Lacazette will be very, very good for us. I certainly also fancy Ousmane Dembele, the young player who scored during the French England game, though very unlikely. But Wenger was a big admirer of the player, many moons ago, and whether that interest can be reignited, I'm not too sure. It's something that we'll have to consider. But we certainly also need some midfield creativity. We need a rejuvenated Santi Cazorla type of player,
And he's on his last legs now, isn't it? Because
that's Santi out for you boys. You boys saying Santi Cazorla, you just can't rely on him.
He's finished. He's finished, mate.
Unfortunately, his form is not very good. But we need a player of his caliber. But who I would like to see is a Costa. I like Costa of Bayern Munich.
Yeah. That's a replacement for Sanchez, though.
Yeah, it's off to Juventus, though, unfortunately.
It's a shame because Costa at Arsenal will have gone down really well with the fans, with his flair, with his dribbling ability. There would have been a very good replacement for Sanchez if Sanchez does go. And he's a winger. He's a bona fide winger. So at the very least, we know that Wenger, we hope, will not play him out of position. But it's looking very, very depressing,
What about, Pascal, what about Arsene Wenger breaking the world transfer record for Mbappe? Will that happen?
Well, Mbappe has announced that he wants to play with Real Madrid. He wants to join Zinedine Zidane, who's beginning to show himself as a very good manager. We got to give him some credit. He's got a very good team, very good players individually, but as a coach and as a manager, he's done exceptionally well. And, Arsene Wenger isn't quite the draw anymore. When you start looking at the young French managers, unfortunately, the Zidanes of this world will be far more attractive because they're much younger, they're much more fresher, they're closer in generation to the players, and also the players have an admiration for Zidane and for the things he has achieved as an individual. Therefore, Wenger, would find it very difficult to attract the young French players. If you notice, it's been a very long time since Wenger has been able to sway the decisions of talented French players to play for Arsenal.
And the other thing I've heard in terms of Arsenal rumours, I mean, this is a big rumour, I'm not sure how true it is, but apart from the Giroud to West Ham rumour that is making rounds, West Ham have actually put in a bid for Giroud. I think that's pretty much all got confirmed. It's the fact that Arsenal might be considering the possibility of letting Koscielny leave this summer. Apparently Arsene Wenger, well, this is, like you say, it's a rumour and it just came out of left field, but it's the one kind of doing the rounds. Koscielny might not be at Arsenal next summer, and Arsenal might be in the market for a centre-back. I don't know what went on. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's gone on because, I mean, he's given Per Mertesacker another 1-year deal. So, I mean, it just seems a little bit strange. But it seems as if Koscielny wants to go somewhere and get a really good kind of long-term deal. Yeah, long-term last deal. And it seems like Arsenal are offering him not as many years as he would actually like. And I think Wenger is putting one kind of one eye in the future, thinking I've got Rob Holding. You know, I want to build around, if I'm playing 3 at the back, I've got Rob Holding. I want to build around Mustafi. We've still got Gabriel. Mertesacker's there. Maybe move Koscielny, who everyone has said is the best defender at Arsenal, and bring someone else in. So that's just, it's just a...
Van Dijk.
Well, I mean, it could be. But
that will never happen.
Spending 60 million. To be honest, I can't see anyone in their right sense of mind spending 60 million on Van Dijk. That's crazy. He is not worth 60 million. I saw him play for Celtic. He's a decent player. There are not that many good centre-halves in world football today. You're looking at him, you're looking at Koulibaly. These are like the 2 best centre-backs that are up for grabs this summer. But he's not worth that. United spent 31 million on Lindelof, a player who's only played in Benfica's first team for 1.5 seasons. But after he completed half a season at Benfica's first team, having spent 3 years in Benfica B, United immediately put in a bid of about £25 million. It's crazy. They didn't sign him then, and they've signed him now after he's actually done a season and a half. There's just no good centre-halves out there in world football. Apart from, obviously, you Arsenal boys will say Rob Holding has got a lot of potential. But no. But I think we're definitely in for a lot of excitement. The fact Everton can go out and spend 30 million on a goalkeeper, and in the same week spend 25 million on the Ajax captain. I mean, we all know Lukaku's going to move. Ross Barkley's probably going to move as well to Spurs. Maybe Man City, which I can't see happening, or Chelsea. He's rumoured to either go, but it's seeming more likely Barkley will actually be at Tottenham. Because Ronald Koeman told him, sign, you have a week to sign, this is while the season was still on, or else we're going to sell you in the summer. So he said sells. Pochettino absolutely wants him. So you've got that. So you've got a Premier League in which Everton is spending money. You've got Southampton, who are going to have a new manager. The 2 people who run up, we're talking about Frank de Boer, and I can't remember who the second person is, but you've got Southampton potentially getting a lot of money because Ryan Veteran apparently is off to Man City to go play second fiddle left back probably to the Monaco left back, who every
Mendy.
Mendy, who every
beast
after. You've got Chelsea bidding 55 million for Alexandro and Juventus. I think the Premier League is just going to be crazy next season.
It's going to be crazy for sure. Yep. I mean, obviously week by week we'll go through the transfers, and I'm sure that we're going to have more speculation as the weeks go by. But I'd like to thank Petar, I'd like to thank Bode, I'd like to thank Pascal and MJ. Join us again next week for another Pep Talk UK podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you.